call the meeting to order. Mayor Mon is he online? Okay, so he will be joining, but he asked that I conduct today just because it is very difficult to conduct remotely. So go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we will start with an invocation by Councilwoman Bingham, and then afterwards the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilman Seth.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are thankful to meet here today and to discuss matters of the city and citizens. We're thankful for the opportunity to live in such a wonderful area with so many good people around us, with so many freedoms to enjoy. And we are grateful for those who serve in any capacity within our city, and we're grateful to belong to such a great nation as well. We pray for all of the matters that we will be discussing tonight, that we'll have clarity of mind and thought, and that we will come to the best conclusions and decisions and votes, and that we will do the best for our citizens. We say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Please rise and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I now need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous. The first item on our agenda is an appeal for the issuance of citations for secondary water regulation violations by Ms. Sue Wagner. Is she present to talk to this either online or in person? Okay. Do we have any details on, I know it's in the packet. I just know we wanted to go over anything in detail. Otherwise, I'll just.
Without her in attendance, can we even, I mean, there's nothing in the packet to.
Why it was on or.
Yeah, I did notice that they were some of them were midday offenses. And
There was only two, right?
yeah,
you just-
there's two, so it's a
No, one was at
$200
morning and the
fine.
other one was at 9.
Probably the wrong day.
So, Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
so you can choose to continue the appeal for the next meeting if you like.
Okay.
You can go forward with it in her absence if you like.
I guess I'll. But
Robert, did you put these facts together? Robert has the information, he might have other information that's not on the cover memo, but those are some options for you.
Okay. Anything additional than what was in the packet? No, you've got everything. So what I saw was there was one warning given and then an actual citation given for watering at not on the appropriate days. Council, do we want to push this off to give her an opportunity to come to a different meeting, or do we want to move forward? Look for recommendation.
I'd like to push it off.
Okay.
I'd second pushing it off and give her another chance to attend. Maybe there was something that kept her from attending tonight, and then
Maybe
go
she
from
just
there.
wasn't sure she needed to be here.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, we will table until a future meeting. All right. The next item on the agenda is public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone that would like to express a concern or address something that is on the agenda that does not have a public comment. We'd like to give you the opportunity to speak now. We'll be giving you 3 minutes, and please state your name and address. So with that, I will turn the time over to the audience or anyone online to voice any concerns. All right. Seeing none, we didn't get any electronic. All right. Then I will close public comment. The next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. The packet has the minutes for the August 23rd meetings and the September 13th meetings. I'm assuming everyone has gone over those. Didn't see anything.
Yeah, just one item on the August 23rd work session discussion. It looks like there's just a name that's wrong. It identifies Logan Wright instead of Logan Johnson throughout the document and then refers to him as Mr. Wright, although he represents Wright Development. So I would just recommend we approve with the correction that gets clarified.
Every single time we do this, I look straight to you because I glance over them, but I know you fine tooth comb them. I second that.
So I actually have another one, if I may. I also found at the previous meeting where we had the 2 fines, where we reduced the fines from 500 to 200. On the second one, I don't have it in front of me. I was able to pull it up in time, but it listed the second one where we reduced it to 200 as unanimous, and I believe I voted nay to that one. Those were the only changes I saw. Okay, any other comments? We have a motion in a second. Do you guys accept that as an additional?
Yes.
Okay. Then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, unanimous. Okay, item number 5. This is some awesome news we'd like to get formalized. Do we have someone addressing this? Is that you, Robert?
Yes.
All right. Yes, please tell us all about this.
So the state of Utah legislature required that all secondary water services become metered by January 1st, 2030. They did this knowing that there was limited funding. Then a grant came around from ARPA and they applied that to this. They had enough money that they maxed out grants for water entities at $10 million. And Syracuse City applied and got the full amount, $10 million grant, which will help us out quite a bit. The nice thing for us is, so we still have another 6.4 million that we would have to foot the bill. But the nice thing with that is that we can count $2 million worth of that as just labor in kind. So it cuts our cost even more. So that's a pretty good deal. So we have an agreement that the state requires the mayor sign, but before we have him sign any agreement, then we bring it before the council for your approval. So that's what is in the packet for you.
Okay.
I have a quick question. If we were only required to have a 30% match, why did we go with the 6.4 million?
That is how much the total project would take to complete. So we could do, say, 90% of the system and it would still just be a 30%.
Either way,
But we
that's
figured
we have to.
we're going to have to foot the bill for the rest anyway.
Thank you.
Any additional questions, comments? All right, I will accept a motion.
I move that we authorize the mayor to execute the grant agreement with the Utah DNR to fund secondary water metering project.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous. All right, thank you. Item number 6 is a resolution adjusting the Syracuse City budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023.
I'll take this one. Yeah, Steve had a family emergency. This is the same proposal that we discussed at the last work session. There is one change, which is the additional $35,000 that we discussed for the expected cost of the design contract for the West Davis aesthetic improvements.
Thank you. With this being a budget adjustment, there is a public hearing attached to this. So that being the case, I will now open this for public comment. Okay, seeing none, I will go ahead and close public comment. Council, any comments or motions you'd like to make? We've seen this for a few weeks now.
Yep, we've seen it and
Couple.
discussed it. Yep. I don't have, I would, sorry, it's probably not mine can I make a motion?
You can.
I move that we approve Resolution R 2235, adjusting the Syracuse City budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Okay. Noah,
All right. So we have an application to rezone a property from R1 to R3. And in addition to what is being requested, we also talked about expanding the boundaries of the rezone to the R3 just to clean up some kind of mapping errors and things. It's been to Planning Commission twice. They recommend approval twice. Any questions?
no, I thought cleaning up half lots was actually a good fix rather
Yeah.
than having one lot with two zones.
Yeah.
So kudos for going a little bit, looking a little bit beyond what was actually requested and making sure we kind of clean things up. So that was a good change. Noah. Any additional comments on this? We've seen this several weeks as well.
Yeah, no comments for me. I would recommend I move that we approve ordinance 2022-26.
A second.
Okay, got a motion a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. All right, taking number 8 as well.
Yes, sir. So this next item is a ordinance amendment to allow basement stairs to be built into people's backyards or side yards. Right now, we measure from the edge of the concrete stair because it ties in, but the proposal is to just keep measuring from the foundation because that's where the wall usually goes up and creates the impact. Yeah, any
Okay.
questions?
Comments?
We've talked about this before as well, and I think it behooves us, especially with the issues with housing right now, to make things less prohibitive. So I would move that we approve the proposed ordinance 2022-27, amending section 10.30.050.
Second.
Okay, motion a second. Any additional comment, discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Item 9, Noah.
That would be me again. So this next one is another text amendment to our kennel ordinance. Creates a new category for dog boarding. Last time we talked about the appropriate square footage for play areas. It was 100 square feet. We were wondering if that was high. Asked me to go look why we set 100. There's a standard by the Humane Society that they recommend 100, so they have enough room to play and whatnot. And I guess that's more than what the gentleman said. He does childcare, and I guess childcare has, for a human child, has less square footage than a dog. I guess probably makes sense because dogs maybe run around a little bit more. Maybe,
There were actually laws protecting dogs before there were laws protecting children. So that makes sense.
there you go. But yeah, nothing else has changed.
Does that mean that most of our peer cities, is this the same metric that indicates the peer cities are a little bit on the lower side compared to what that would recommend?
Yeah, we haven't done an extensive comparison to other cities, but I would assume that would.
We're on the high end, right? It would be.
Yeah, the gentleman that applied for the text amendment was just looking at other kind of comparative.
So it was more of his research. that kinda
Facilities, yeah.
indicated we're a little high. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's per dog at a time, so I don't really anticipate that this would make him have to change his design or anything.
And we've kept it with a different name. We originally were trying to kind of mesh it with a previous,
What was the name?
what was,
What was it, Brody?
I
Fetch.
And now we have Fed buff.
Fetch. That's so fetch.
No, I didn't make a lot of progress. I apologize on the acronym. If you do have a different name.
I almost feel like.
but I was referring to, we originally talked about it being a kennel, but now what we were talking about
Completely
boarding, and we decided it's a completely different category, right?
Yeah.
It's the fetch category.
Are we really gonna put fetch in the ordinance?
I don't know. I'm gonna call it that.
If Brody had his,
That's fine. I think.
Quit trying to make fetch happen.
It's fed
Yeah.
right now.
Anyway. We've seen this a few times. Any changes you want to make? Are you good with this?
motion to approve ordinance 2022-28.
Okay, we have a second by Mr. Bingham. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item 10, Noah.
Okay, you got me again. This last one, let's see. Oh, sorry, I got a little mixed up there. So this next one is the R2 setbacks. Currently, the rear setback in the R2 zone is 30. The proposal is to change it to 25. Planning Commission actually is recommending to not change this. What this would do, it essentially make the houses a little bit closer together in the back rear yards, or allow that. But it will also allow a larger home. So there was a little bit of debate about whether or not this would be appropriate. There's no changes from last time we talked about it. The proposal from Ivory Homes is still to change it to 25, which would go in order of kind of the lot sizes. You go 30, 25, 20, and then there's even a 15 in there.
Councilman Watson, I'd like some additional insight on why they decided to decline this in the Planning Commission's liaison. Can you provide any additional insight?
So the reason they thought that is because they were looking at it as, well, it's always been that way. And then they were looking at their decision from what I understood, is that they already feel like we have a step down in the rear setback for that zone, because it steps down in that one. And so they were.
I don't know. What do you mean by that? It's all 30. It goes 30, 30, 20.
Or sorry, not the rear, the side setback.
Okay, because it goes from 10 to 8.
Yep, that was their kind of it. We already have a step down in the side setback, so they felt that was sufficient and didn't want to make that zone closer on the rear setback.
Yeah, if you look on page 89, that's the table he's referring to.
Mhm, that's what I'm looking at.
And we determined that these setbacks were, I guess, somewhat arbitrary, not like fully arbitrary, but we had just determined that these numbers weren't pegged to any scientific study that, indicates.
So I did have a
Anything.
question
Yeah.
about that. So I did watch a video about houses being set too close together if they have side windows, actually being the siding on the houses being burned by the neighbors' windows
Like reflection.
reflecting onto them. So I don't know. And that's the only thing I could think of that had anything to do with distance between the houses.
I could see
is-
that on a side where you're
Yeah.
only 16 feet
But I don't
apart.
think this would be relevant for that.
Yeah.
Not,
Correct? Yeah.
Noah, do you have numbers from other cities, what their setbacks are in the back?
Well, and he had
I know that,
somebody indicated
I
that,
think it may have been this gentleman here. And
like Clearfield was.
looked into some surrounding cities and theirs were 25.
These are all pretty standard zoning setbacks that you'll see. I think the only scientific thing that I could think of why these numbers are the way they are is an assumption of a certain height. Usually a home, if it's a 2-story home, it's going to be 25 to 30 feet, the pitched roof and shadows.
so if it falls over, it won't land on the people.
Yeah, so you're not,
Hard.
but well, I guess that too. I was not thinking about the whole structure falling over, but the shadow that it
Why
would
hadn't you
cast
thought of
for
that?
other people's gardens and things, but you also have the more shallow side setback, and there's a lot of variables there depending on whether somebody plants a giant tree and all that stuff in their backyard.
Right. Okay.
Well, my feeling would be that, we kind of discussed who needs a bigger yard and who needs a bigger home. And I think that would be I think I would let the market decide if they want a bigger yard or if they want a bigger home. And in my case, we would choose a bigger home because we don't want as much yard. And so I think that your market and your customers will choose whether this is a place they want to live. And I think that it's very much in line with, as you've said, it's a pretty common 25 is a pretty common setback. So I also think when we say, well, it's just always been that way, I think that we're just in a different world right now where just because it's always been that way doesn't necessarily mean that that's where we should remain. And that's not to say that there aren't some things that do remain and that we keep just as they are. But in this case, I think that a 5-foot change, if it can increase the size of a home and the square footage, when we know that land is at a premium right now and people are kind of desperate to have enough space in their homes to for what they want for their own purposes. I think that it's a very reasonable request, so I would support it for that reason.
Is that a motion?
Oh, I was just gonna say, sometimes, at least for me, maybe it's because I'm newer, I'm always concerned, like, what are the are there, like, it
Unintended
had to be
consequences of
established
it.
for some reason, and
Mhm.
what are the unintended consequences of doing it without, I mean, I realize we have one development that would prefer to have that, but you know, why was it established in the first place? What are the unintended consequences of it? I don't know the answer to that, but
I mean, ultimately, you're going to, if you're building a house, this only applies to new build homes.
yeah.
And you are going to build your home based on what you want.
Mhm.
If you want a big yard, you either need to buy a bigger lot or you need to build a smaller home. I think this actually gives additional flexibility to choose between the two.
So the way I see it, looking at it is this kind of like a step down thing. One is 30, if that one goes to 25, the other one's 20. It kind of gives it like a better, more of a ratio for the property in line with the others, because 30 being the same from 10,000 lot size to 12,000 square feet, you know, it's might as well give them a little bit of variance there. Kind of proportions it like the rest of the lots.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm for it.
Heard lots of for it. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion that we
Okay.
approve ordinance 2022-29, amending section 10.65.040.
Second.
All right. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it was unanimous. Okay, we have reached the end of our various items. With that, we will give an additional period for public comment. Is there any additional public comment, either online or in attendance? Seeing none, I will close public comment and move into mayor and council announcements. We'll go ahead and start far left with Councilman Watson, and we'll just move down the line.
Sure. Just one kind of minor update from Planning Commission. So with some of the changes that we made in the mixed use development, the latest update that we did, once we updated that, some of the recommendations from Planning Commission that they had put in their recommendations for it were based on certain things, kind of limiting it to the town center and things like that. So they wanted to take another look at it and see if, based on what the decision we made, which wasn't to limit it to the town center. And so they took another look at it. Commissioner Hellawell had some suggestions for recommended changes. Ultimately, they decided not to pass any recommendations on to city council. So that's my only update.
Okay, thank you.
So we had our CTC Communities That Care meeting today. Just a few small upcoming events. They're really starting to hit up some of their workshops pretty strongly at a lot of our elementary schools, which is great to see, strengthening families and everyday strong and some of those protective factor workshops that allow families to find coping strategies for dealing with all those negative the targeted items that we're targeting as a CTC to eradicate in our community, including vaping and underage drinking. If there's anything that like the partner cities really help to provide direction as far as like what CTC should focus on. Lisa knows it pretty well. And so they are going to be sending out a survey here for us to answer. And so if any of you guys have anything that, you're seeing at your schools or, the community, youth community overall, please, send that to me and I can be happy to include that in the feedback because they really do genuinely want to, provide good curriculum and good information to strengthen our families in the community. And then I attended the ULCT annual summit this last week. And attended a few workshops that I thought were pretty awesome and pretty relevant. I sent out the notes on the Teams platform. And so you can see kind of my notes there. If you have any questions on that, please feel free to let me know. One of them was on the future of retail, especially in growing and challenged communities. And they had very interesting perspectives from the development community, broker community, as well as from the municipal community. So different perspectives there. And then tomorrow or on Thursday, there's the Great Salt Lake Forum or Summit or whatever it's called. I'll be attending that. So Thursday. Yeah. Yeah. I said tomorrow. Sorry. In Ogden. So I'm sure I'll provide some feedback there. In regards to our upcoming goals retreat, I put a message on the Teams as well. I don't know if you guys saw it, but each year we do our goals meeting ahead of the budget process. And so I just need some heads up or some lead time as far as when we're going to do that, just because it does take some time to get that scheduled with the holidays and such and work. And so I'm sure you guys would like to know as well for that. So just looking for when that would be or what we're planning. I usually need like 30 to 60 days. So that helps me. I mean, it just gets really tight around the holidays, and then work anyway is kind of hard to get away with. So those are my announcements.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bingham.
Okay, I also attended the Utah League of Cities and Towns conference for just one day. And there were some great insights. I shared general ideas on our teams as well, but I'd like to have, an opportunity in our next meeting. Maybe we can talk about some of the ideas that we heard, because there were some really great insights that some of them had, and went around to all the vendors and they had some cool things that they offered as well. This is kind of a cool thing with the West Davis Chamber of Commerce. We are having a speed hiring job fair at Syracuse High School on November 3rd. And it will be, all the kids in the high school are allowed to come. It will be from 9 to 11:45. We can't have a crossover from other schools just because there are some issues related with that, but we will be probably doing that at Clearfield as well over the next few months.
Just businesses that want to.
We have about 27 businesses signed up.
Nice. Oh, wow.
And we really wanted to figure out what the West Davis Chamber can offer. And that's what they've come up with. That's kind of a main thing that we're going to offer, which is an opportunity to really mesh the needs of the community with the needs of the business as well. So it will be like 3-minute hiring, like a speed dating,
But for
speed hiring.
employees.
So if you have any businesses in Syracuse, we want the city to be there. I know that we've talked to a few of you about it. And so anybody that from any department that we have any empty spaces, we'd love to have you there. And it's free for the businesses as well as obviously the kids, but that you'll each have a table and an area to show your wares and to kind of give some information out. And then you can do a quick speed hiring and maybe you can hire some kids. And this is a really great segue. We've heard from several workforce services that if you can get the kids in high school and kind of direct them and figure out where they want to go from there, that you have a great great opportunity to connect with further employment. So that is coming up. Again, that's November 3rd from 9 to 11:45. So if you have any businesses, including yourself, that wants to be part of that. Oh, yeah. Okay. This is, thank you, Urban Injections Ribbon Cutting, which will be October 20th. So if any of us want to be there for that, that is one of the new places in the new development, right? Is that?
And the
Yep.
whole.
Right down over here.
Holtz. Yep. And that will be on October 20th, Thursday, next Thursday, right? October 20th from 4:30 at 4:30. So we'd love to have anybody there for that as well. And they just did one the other day for the holiday oil. So I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. For me, I'm love Halloween time. So I'm super stoked about the Syracuse City Pumpkin Walk coming up in just a few weeks, October 27th to 29th. There will be booths and delightful foods and pumpkins galore. So yeah, put that in your calendars. What's the time on that? Is that like 6 to 9 or something like that?
So
And then maybe it's 6 to 10. Anyway, and then also we have something new we're doing this year is we have
That's my announcement.
who's in charge of Halloween here? Thank you.
Who's wearing ladies?
Okay, fine. I will let you announce the other two items.
Oh, you're not gonna, okay, no, that's fine. I'll take the mayor's one also.
Okay, well, he is online. We can, I'll let you do, you can do the haunted houses.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
a couple of things.
Okay.
Mayor Mon's not in a position to talk
Oh, okay.
online, so he's just listening tonight.
Okay.
And for the record clarification, so Pumpkin Walk is 7 to 10, booths open at 6.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. All right.
Go ahead. You got the whole thing right in front of you on your computer. I see it.
Better believe it. So we also will be, something new this year is we are going to be having a contest for all the haunted houses. The deadline to submit your house to be judged was October 8th. So that is now passed, but are we going to be distributing that list? And I know there's a couple that asked not to be shared, but I heard we were going to be.
Those that are public will be distributed online.
Okay. So be watching for that. We have some very talented haunters in our city. I've seen a few of them in years past, so I'm excited to get the full list, which I have. And we will be coming by. And thank you so much for your participation if you're listening. And I'm looking forward to seeing them.
Do we have an idea of how many so far have?
I believe the list was 22.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my, awesome.
So we will probably need to divide those up.
Yeah.
So we should probably chat and figure out how to divide.
My neighbor has a
those.
party bus.
Or do a party bus.
Yeah, I mean, I need
But 22, that's a lot to hit in one night. So we'll probably need to divide and conquer a little bit, but I am super excited for this. And then we also have the decorated haunted houses. And I don't have all the details.
I called them Hansel and Gretel houses because
Hansel
like
and Gretel
the candy witch.
the Wicked Witch.
Yeah.
Thing.
The
So
Hansel and Gretel
do
house.
you have the details for that? I'll let you look that up while I turn it over. Yeah.
Yeah, but for Halloween.
We announced that online. That was something Dave or Mayor Mon had advocated for. And so there we'll be getting, we've published it, but I haven't been tracking it because that would require some type of artistic talent, which I do not have.
Me either.
So that one I won't be able to participate in. But anyway, Councilwoman Bingham, Carver.
How you doing, Lisa? You good? I'll just scratch.
I
bump and
had my
walk off
time.
my right here.
my time.
So mosquito abatement is still spraying. I promise they are still spraying. If you need an extra spray in your neighborhood or around your house, I probably shouldn't say this because he's gonna kick my butt for it, but you can actually kind of work it to where if you call on a Monday, they'll come out usually on Tuesday and get that area around your neighborhood near your house and do an extra spray. And then you can have your neighbor call on Wednesday and then they'll come back out on Thursday or Friday and do another extra. So that's kind of how my neighbors and I have been like finagling the extra sprays, but you only get one per week for your own call in. So if you want to call in, feel free, but once they come around, tell your neighbor, it's your turn. So, and then that'll help bring it down. And honestly, Syracuse is so bad right now that I sent them a video of the mosquitoes just flying around my car down there by where the old Black Island Farms property is, with church property now.
Okay.
And you can't even get out because they're swarming around, and they have the drones out. We have like 20 drone things that they fly now. That's super cool by one.
That'll drop something?
Yeah, it sprays all of it. He sends them all up at the same time, and they can cover like 20 acres in no time at all. I like those 5-6 acre lots they can do in no time, but getting in between them it takes longer to get to them than it does to spray them. But right now they're having a hard time they're running out of product, and they just happen to have some because Salt Lake County ordered too much. And we had ordered some as well for them, I believe, or whatever. So instead of them having to reimburse us for it, we're just keeping it for extra, either for next year or being able to keep it for this year, because there's no way they're going to get their hands on any more this year. So mosquito abatement is still getting the job done. Get your extra sprays in so we can get this Syracuse mosquito carrying humans waste situation under control.
So if we're running low, would it behoove us to,
It'll get cold here pretty soon, enough that they'll start dying.
I'm just trying to figure out if we want to try and hit it really hard the week before Halloween, while we're all outside.
I would ask your neighbors to call. So that way, because Halloween's on a Monday. So if you call on Monday, you're not going to get sprayed that night. So I
Yeah,
would
so start
call
the
on
week
Thursday
before.
night or Friday, and then they would come out on Monday. So call on like Wednesday or Thursday, and they'll do it all that Friday
Perfect.
about that. And that's kind of what they plan on anyway, because it's so warm still, and we still have such an excessive amount of mosquitoes that they know that kids are going to be out on Monday, and they know that things are going to be going on. So they're trying to work around that also.
Okay.
The museum has its new mural going up. If you happen to drive by, take a look. It's just now getting its back color done, and it's got, I have a phobia of antelope, you guys. It's another time, but it's hilarious. But the first thing she put on there was the antelope, and I was like, oh my, but it looks great. And the open house for the public safety open house is this coming Thursday from 6 to 8. Our officers and firefighters have been working together on it so surprisingly well. I feel like all of those stories about how cops and firefighters just don't get along is completely wrong, because maybe it's just because I'm there, but they're just like buddies. And I think it's great. And they're like, don't fight in front of her, but they're doing a great job, and it's going to be an amazing event.
I've often found you have a very calming influence on people.
I have a scared influence on people who are like, just don't say nothing. It's fine. But yep, it'll be fine. That's pretty much all I got.
All right. So the mayor can't, has anything, do you have anything to add?
Just that the manager's report was sent out by email earlier today. If you have any questions on it, please let me know. Or if you have any problems getting the link.
Great
Okay.
accolades for our public works and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And Public Works is still, they're killing it. Saw their guys out there
Creative.
super happy the other day. I'm like, man, they're the happiest people doing their jobs now. They just always got smiles lately. It's great.
Yeah, now we just got, so I guess one thing that I'm just going to share this just because I get this question a lot, and in case anyone's listening, I reached out to find out why Bluff Ridge Parkway, Sandridge Parkway isn't open, and apparently we're still waiting for Rocky Mountain Power. Is that correct?
No.
Can you give us an update on that? I know this is not on the agenda.
Every day I
but this
have
is just-
a
this is gonna be
question
part of my
about it.
announcement.
I've been blaming Rocky Mountain.
Well, it was for a while, but there is a pedestrian activated push button on the signal for a pedestrian to go. It's on a traffic signal pole that a pedestrian would have to walk across cobble to get to the pole, which is not compliant with ADA. So they actually have to install a separate pedestal in the concrete. The pedestal's been set, and they just need to finish up the timing of that with the signal and then get it powered and go. So long story, well, I still don't have a date for when that's supposed to happen, but I know they're pushing real hard. I got an email today that they're hoping in the next week or two
Okay.
that should be done.
That's an expense.
They're all literally standing out there. What next do they need to, and who, never mind.
All right.
So,
Thank
all
you.
right. We did do a final inspection, so I could have been some of the people you saw standing. We were
I
inspecting
didn't
final
think that they
items.
were all- I mean, they're all just working in
So-
the same general vicinity, like all right now
Thanks, Robert.
together.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Robert. All right, do we have anything for closed session? All right, then, we will go ahead and consider adjourning into closed executive session. Do we need a motion to move into closed session?
I move, we move into closed session.
Okay.
Second,
All right, move and a second. Do we need to adjourn into a
different room.
different room? All right, we will go ahead and shut down this and move into closed session. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.